So now we can begin class. So to just to once again mention, yes, so everything is due by Thursday, actually tomorrow at 3 o'clock, because I have to get grades in so that I can send them over to your sending schools to put them in for Friday. Okay, so please, if you have any last minute, maybe there's some projects you did or exploratories that you did, but you forgot to upload. I know some of you are a little forgetful, and that's fine. It's my job to remind you. Some of you, may have done the work and saved it and actually forgot to post it. So please make sure you post it. Does everybody know how to go in and check their grades? All you need to do is when you go into Schoology, you go into your Schoology page, and if you look on the left where all the stuff is, there's one that says grades. Click on grades and you'll see what you have or haven't done. Actually, I'm gonna kind of get things started and share my screen with you as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I actually did some of the discussion posts on this.
What's that?
I went back into my grades and did all the discussion posts I didn't
Awesome.
get graded for.
Okay, great. And I'm going to, okay. So I want to show you this real quick because I know there was a little bit of confusion as to where they can find things. So now that I'm sharing, everybody can see the screen, right? It's the class website. Yes? Okay, cool. So when you go to Schoology, I'll go into the PM and I will pretend to be view course as Deshauna. Okay. So this is what Deshauna would basically see. Okay. So what I would want you to do is go to grades and you'll see what you have or haven't done. If there's a dash, it means you didn't do it. Now, let me say this too. Please pay attention to what I'm about to say. Sometimes there's dashes there and you're like, well, I totally did that. Please let me know, because we have almost 70 students. And when I have 70 names on a big screen, it's easy to miss something. And I want to make sure that I give you credit for the work that you have done. So please go through your grades page. This is for all students. So hopefully all students will be watching this video. But please make sure you go in and check that I've graded you on everything that you're supposed to have handed in or done. Same thing with all. Great job, Deshauna. You did all the discussion posts. And you'll actually see right here, I put comments in. So for example, I have C comments. That's super important. That means I need you to click on that assignment. And I may have put some valuable information in for you where you submitted the assignment. See? Now, I actually wrote something just, I like to share my personal thoughts and ideas. And this was through the commercial, and Deshauna did one for Vans, for shoes. And I love Vans. I got a bunch of pairs. So I put that in the submission area, but I also use this to say, you forgot this, you misspelled that. I can't see the assignment. Can you please fix this and I'll give you a better grade. So you gotta make sure that you are checking any and all comments that I am leaving you, okay? It's super, super, super important. So please make sure you go in, you scroll down. Sometimes I just put it there, but if it says see comments, make sure you go in there and check them, okay? So that's all I really had to say about that. Since we're in Schoology, as you can see, I added a whole new folder for I can't believe it, it's the last marking period. So here's the last marking period folder. It's familiar, it's just like the other ones. And here's our new assignment for sound, Foley sound effect artists. And I will be adding an ed puzzle and I will be adding a quiz. I'll have those ready for next week. And then we have a new exploratory in here too. Okay, so I'll show you the exploratory real quick. It's everyday sounds. And I went over this yesterday, but I'll do it again. And you'll actually start seeing this, everyone. I started putting rubrics in here, okay? Everybody knows what rubrics are at this point, I would think. It's basically it's your guide to kind of show you what you need to do to get an A, what you need to do to get a B, C, and so on and so forth. So these are the things that I look for when I grade your work, because art can be very subjective. And someone's like, well, why did I get a C on this? I think I did a great job. So I'm starting to break these down and put these rubrics in. So if you have questions, just let me know. But if you go to the link of the instructions, it'll take you to the exploratory page. So we'll scroll down to the bottom. And it's the last project. And this actually relates to the project that you're going to be doing to do sound effects. So I want you to start thinking about sound, okay, and the importance of sound. And I mentioned this yesterday, but when you make a movie, a television show, the sound is just as important as what you're filming. It's just as important as the video. And I use the example of Star Wars. I mean, obviously, laser beams aren't real yet, and lightsabers, but you have to make those sound effects. And it's funny, when I hear that lightsaber sound, I know exactly what scene from that movie that I saw 45 years ago when I was 5 years old, and sound is sometimes more identifiable than pictures. Like, how you hear an old song, you're like, oh, I remember that day I was with my friends and we were at the park and we were playing Frisbee and we had such a great time, man. I love that song. The same thing happens when you look at a photograph too. But now it's really important for you, for being in this program, is to start thinking about sound. And a great way to do that is a little project like this. Like, what are the sounds that you hear every day? Do you wake up to your awful alarm clock? Do you wake up to your mom or dad or your cousin, aunt, uncle, friend, whoever, waking you up in the morning, or hearing them take a shower or make coffee, or the sound of the microwave when you hit the button or when it's done? So I made this collage here for you, and this is a good representation. So before you do anything, I would like for you to sit there and think about it. And if you remember, I gave you this other assignment up here. Remember that, a week in the life. So you can almost go back and look at these pictures and say, oh, are there sounds related to these here? Like football game, or opening the can, the sound of the can opener. So things like that, and apply it to this project. So sit down and write down some notes. Like, what do you hear every day? I hear my dog bark because she's hungry. So I hear birds chirping because I have a bird feeder out back. My son's got a skateboard and he's usually in the driveway skateboarding. So, and there's always somebody in class talking on their phone. And my other son and his friends, we have a basketball net out front. They're always playing basketball. So that's what I did. Now, obviously, I didn't take these pictures, and I drink a whole lot of water. So I start off my day with a big glass of water, and I take all my vitamins. So the important thing for you to think about is, how are you going to capture the sound with a photo? So obviously, you can almost look at the picture of the water and hear it being poured. If you just had a glass of water sitting on the table, I don't really think that's going to get the point across of water. The same thing with just a picture of a basketball on the ground. So this is going to have a lot to do with motion and setting up the shot. Like, you are more than welcome to have your friends, your family, help you get involved. If like, let's say Steven likes to ride his bike, I'm not going to ask him to take a selfie on his bike and then he, hits a curb and gets hurt. So maybe you could take a picture of your friend pedaling the bike so it looks like it could be anyone. And I wouldn't tell you to make your dog bark, but if your dog likes to play, like my dog, when I sit there and play ball, she likes to bark. So I'll go play ball and take that photo. Okay. So try and think a lot of this is the pre-production, is what I really want you to focus on, the thought. What am I going to do? What are the sounds I hear? And how am I going to reproduce those sounds? So when you look at the photo, you're like, I get it. I know that sound. I'm using a can opener. I know what a can opener sounds like. So, just make sure you think about that. Okay. Now, moving on, is there any questions about that? Okay. If you have any, just, throw them in the chat. I have it open. But let's jump to the project at hand. and the project is a Foley artist. So we talked about this yesterday, and this is kind of a hint right here, these comic book noises. But what a Foley artist does is they create sound for movies. They'll literally sit in a room and watch the movie and create those sound effects. Okay. Because when you take a picture of horses galloping across the sand and you're taking a wide shot, you can't hook a microphone up to a horse. You know what I mean? So how are you going to represent the sound of the galloping? You know, it could be two wooden blocks and you're like, wow, it sounds like a horse. So that's kind of the whole process of creating sound. And it is an art form. There's not a lot of people that do it. It's a very difficult job to get into, but if you're good at it, you can make a lot of money. But this is also a great way to help you learn about sound and how it works. Okay. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is you're going to download one of these 6 movies clips, and you're going to add sound effects to it. Now, I'd like for you to create your own. So you could use your computer, you could yell into your phone, you could create your own soundtrack and create those sound effects. Okay. So for example, I'm just going to give you a little quick tutorial. I made a video on how to actually download the videos. Pretty simple. Let's say I want to pick the Three Stooges. So when you see the video right here, now all the sound has been taken out of these videos. Okay, I did that already ahead of time for you. All you have to do is go over here and you see the 3 dots, you click on it, you hit download. And then there you go. There's your file. And then you do show in Finder, and there's the file right there. Okay, so it's easy enough to download. Now, like I said, some of you may not have an Apple laptop computer. If that's the case, you're gonna have a bit of an issue. Now, there's free sound software that I have that you can use, but you'd also need to have some sort of video editing software. And I'm not sure, I'll have to ask Mr. Folk, does anybody know if you have a PC or a Chromebook, if it comes with any sort of free video editing software? That's something you can look into. But if you cannot do this project because of the limitations of your computer or your software, let me know and I will give you an alternate assignment, but you have to tell me, okay? You know, just reach out, email me, let me know.
How am I supposed to make the sounds and then do it with the video and like combine it into like one whole thing?
So what you would do, and I'll show you right here, is I will take this file. So let me move this over here real quick. Here's my calendar. I am going to open up iMovie real quick. And really,
oh, so we use iMovie, like make the sounds on iMovie.
You're gonna, well, so what you can do is you're going to, give me one sec for this to open. So you would essentially drag your footage in. Okay, we'll just do create new, and you're going to import this media over. Okay, let me just do this real quick. I'm on another screen right now. Okay, so you drag this in. Now, what you would ultimately do, this is telling you 3 minutes. It's 3.4 minutes. Now, I'm asking you to do a 3-minute clip. Some of these movie clips are 7, 8 minutes long, 5 minutes long. But if you drag this down into here, okay, you're going to see, you know, at what point, like see right here, I clicked at this spot here where where his hat is about to come off. So you could say at the 140 mark, that's where you need to do a sound. So you would basically watch the movie on your phone and do the sound in GarageBand. So I'm going to actually spend a little bit of time on that tomorrow, doing that tutorial for you. Okay. But for now, I'm just going to do the overview of the project. But I've seen students sit there and do the sounds on their phone and then just import them into iMovie, and then you drop them where they need to go in your final video. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Okay, cool. So it's almost like if the section you're going to take, so I'll give you a good example here. So let's go to this World War or Kung Fu battle. I always love the Kung Fu battle. So the Kung Fu battle is almost 7 minutes long. So you may want to pick the first 3 minutes. So this would be the 3-minute mark right here, and that would be from here to here would be your movie. Or you could take the last 3 minutes, or you could take this piece, that piece, and that piece, as long as it ends up being 3 minutes long. So you have this much clip to do that much work. Okay. So you have more than what you need. So watch it a few times and process in your head. All right, cool. I can go yeah and make this one noise and do this smack noise and record that for when this person gets hit. Plus, also, I want to show you something cool as you scroll down. So just to go over it real quick, here's the videos, and then here are the specific instructions of what I want you to do. Okay. There's a really cool website that I want everybody to have a free account, and it's called Free Sound, and it's free sounds. It is literally a free sound library. Here's a good example: Playground with Children. So you can go in and search and do karate sounds, okay? And you'll see karate chop fight sounds. So there's like a bunch of things, and you can download them, okay? Oh, bone crush. Ow. So you could, I know that was a little nasty. But you could go, you create a free account, and you can download that sound and then import it into your video, okay? So this is, I honestly think it's a lot of fun stuff. Ooh. See, watch, ready? So it's great. So that's essentially what I'm asking you to do, is to have some fun with it. Now, here's a cool thing that you can also do.
So we don't have to just make the sounds ourselves. We can also use this one.
Yes, you can. You can incorporate both. I had some
Okay.
students make all the sounds. But obviously, if you're doing a war scene, please don't blow anything up in your backyard. Just find some sounds of explosions and guns and bombs and stuff going off, and airplanes and whatnot. So I know some of this stuff you will not have access to, which is why I want you to use the Free Sound app. Now, the funny thing is, and I want to show you this, a student did a really cool thing. It doesn't have to be serious. It could be funny. Like, he literally made all the noises like he was 6 years old playing with toys. So the video went like this. It was like, blah, 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 blah. And he was making all these noises, and he went boom. So you could go and have fun with it. And the gun's like, gah, 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 and do all that. I'm sure you'll all play this someday in class about me making these noises. But you can go and make it funny and make it interesting, or make it serious. Like the funny animals, there's all different kinds of stuff that you could do. You could say that they're talking like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Hey, you stepped on my foot. Hey, we're going to get in a fight. And then you can add sound effects to it. You know what I mean? So I think I gave you enough variety to have fun with it. So I'm really not asking you to do anything more than start thinking about, watch all of the clips. You may say to yourself, okay, I'm going to pick animal fights. And when you go to do it, you're like, well, I don't like this video. It's really violent. It's not, but it's not bloody or gory, but it's like, make sure you watch the videos. Make sure that you're going to be capable to do the things that you're going to need to do the video. Okay. So, like I said, you're going to have some fun with it. And as I said before, there's some resources down here for you. And last but not least, I have some cool stuff you can look at in terms of the lectures I'm going to do. I'll probably start the lectures next week. Right now, I'm just going to start doing the kind of the how-to. But here's some cool examples of Foley artists. They watch the scene, and then they'll sit there and gather all the things they need to make the sounds. Okay. And some really important vocabulary terms, and this is what the quiz will be based on. Okay. Like some people, reverb is a big thing. Some people don't know what stereo means. It's audio from left and right. what a decibel, what ambient audio means. So there's a lot of different things in there that you can learn the vocabulary, and that's a big deal. If somebody is sitting in, how you doing, Alex? If someone is sitting in a studio booth and says, look, I need you to turn the fader down, and then I need you to equalize it with the gain and then mix it, and you're like, what? You need to understand the terminology and how important it is, okay? So make sure you start to familiarize yourself with this vocabulary. Because I'll be honest, when you're in the classroom and Mr. Folk comes over and says, I need you to add a little reverb to that, and you've been waiting and waiting and waiting to get studio time, and you don't know the basic vocabulary, you're going to get pulled out until you know it. Because if, let's say, Mr. Folk or myself are like, you know what, Alex, you're going to be in charge of recording this one student, make sure you have the right channels and the decibel set up and have the EQ going. And you're like, what? I'm like, look, you got to go, because time is of the essence. You got to get the project done. So learn the vocab. Okay. We'll use the vocab all the time. Sometimes you just learn it by hearing it so much. But I have some great tutorials. I really would like for you to watch, like how to make your own Foley sounds at home, and an introduction to what this is all about.
Light gags with
And this guy,
or a snare hit.
hold on. This guy does a really good job of showing you here, making the sound effects going all the way back to old radio shows. That's where Foley art really came in handy before television. But, and he starts using the vocabulary and how important it is. But this is really cool. I found some clips on how the sound effects. Did anybody see the movie WALL-E before? There's some really cool sound effects in that. And then this is great. One of my favorite movies. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Did anybody see that movie, A Quiet Place? That movie was straight up scary, but it was great. And you know why? Because the movie had very little sound in it. But the sounds that were in it were very, very critical. They were very important. It was basically aliens invaded the planet, and they hunt by sound. So if you coughed, an alien would come and get you. So they had to be quiet throughout the whole movie, but there were scenes where the sounds were really, really important of what was going on in the film. And I'll show you right here. He's got lettuce. So he's sitting there. That's the monster's gills opening up. So there's some really, really cool stuff. Breaking crab legs. I mean, I don't know how you learn all this stuff.
Unlikely hits of 28, a single sound, and you're in big trouble. Therefore, the characters communicate in sign language and make the lightest of footsteps. Foley, a method in which objects are used to create sounds made by humans, or in this case, monsters, is used.
A Foley stage is a super quiet and
so this is a really cool video, and that's why I put it up there for you to watch. This really explains on the like what Foley sounds are, and why they're used and how important they are. Okay, so when you get a chance, check those out. I have some tutorials with recording sound for GarageBand or with your phone. But here's a cool thing that I'll cover after you watch this video. It'll say, I put some cool kind of tips in here, and a little bit of a fun fact on how they came up with some of the sounds for Star Wars. And also common tricks that artists use. A metal rake makes a rattle squeak as the sound of a chain link fence. It can also make a screech when dragged across metal. Frozen lettuce makes bone or head injury noises. So obviously you're not putting people in headlocks and breaking bones to make those sounds for a movie. But it is funny that these are the tools of the trade. Large and thin metal plates, when bent, can be used for thunder. So this is kind of what Foley artists use to make a lot of the common sounds. Now I'll ruin it for you. When you watch movies, you'll hear an explosion or a crackle or thunder, and you'll be like, that wasn't real. But it is neat. It's really neat, and it helps you introduce you to what sound is all about. Okay. So, that is the project in the overview. I did go over some of this stuff yesterday. I went into more more detail with it today, because, you know, everything is done. But when you go into Schoology, it has been assigned. So we'll jump into the PM here. And you'll see marking period 4. There is the Everyday Sounds Exploratory. And here is the Foley Artist Project. And as I said before, the Ed puzzle will go in there and the quiz too. So that's what I had for today. We'll go a little bit more into the vocabulary tomorrow. And actually, maybe I'll wait on that until next week. The big thing that I really want you to do right now is any work that you have not done, finished, or completed. Do the best you can to try to get it done by tomorrow afternoon, because it's really going to help some students' grades. I don't know any one particular person's grades here right now. You know who you are, but I showed you in the beginning how to access your grades and see any work that you have to hand in. Because I'll be honest with you, usually the fourth marking period is the most difficult marking period to keep your grades up. Because why? Summer's coming, breaks come, you know, summer break is coming. It's nice out. I want to go hang out with my friends. I'm tired of being indoors. So it stinks to have to, you know, really push hard. You know, I do have some students that failed the first, second, and third, and soon to be, hopefully not, failing the third marking period. You almost have to get a perfect 100 for the fourth marking period to pass for the year. And I don't think I could pull that off. So please put yourself in a good position to try and get as much work done as you can. For example, let's say Alex loves coming to school, Diego loves coming to school, but if your grades are poor now, they're not gonna let you come back next year. And the sad thing is when you do come back next year, you get to be in the sound studio, you get to be in the video studio, you get to be doing work in a classroom. But if you don't get it done now and you don't pass for the year, they're not going to let you come back. And I would love to see everybody come back and give you that opportunity that you signed up for in the first place, to be in a classroom learning cool stuff. Okay. So please put yourself in a good spot. If you need my help, you know where I am, you know how to get a hold of me. But just focus on any and all work that you have not submitted. I will give you credit. Do not worry about this project until next week, as it will be the first project of the fourth marking period. So it's 1:36. That's all I really had for today. I know I talked a whole lot. I usually do, but it is kind of like crunch time. It's really important, especially with the end of the marking period. And unfortunately, like I said, I'm contacting students, parents, and guardians about their situation. So, you know, if you get a chance, talk to your folks, parents, guardians, whoever, and let them know where you're at. And if you need help and they need to talk to me, let them know. Okay. So that's what I had for today. If you need anything, just let me know and I will catch back up with you tomorrow. Okay. All right. It's great to see some of you again. Some I saw yesterday. I mean, it's great to see everybody, but for those that showed up today, I didn't see yesterday. Good to see you back, and I'll see you tomorrow.